All right, so here we are, day 3 in this first effort at a video short series, and I'm speaking on truth, and I'm speaking on the ability to listen and look for guidance. And today I want to just mention to you it's springtime outside, and I'm looking right over here, and y'all can't see it because it's just off camera, but I see where Hannah has bought a few trees. It looks like one might be a maple tree because of the color of the leaves on it, and the other doesn't have any leaves on it at all. I'm guessing it's probably some sort of a fruit tree because I can see these little bitty nodules on the end of each of the branches that look like buds that'll end up budding out, and it'll grow new growth this year. And I planted a fruit orchard about 5 or 6 years ago, and it started bearing fruit last year, a little bit of fruit. Unfortunately, the birds and the deer got to the fruit before I did, but I did get the benefit of seeing it. And a good friend of mine, Jeff Sellers, he has a peach and pecan farm in Red Level, Alabama. If you're ever coming to the beach and you're coming out of Montgomery towards Destin and you come through Andalusia, you'll see his signs in Red Level for his peach and pecan farm. So he told me, he said, you know, Walt, you got to prune your fruit trees. And I knew, I'd heard people talk about pruning trees, and I knew that that was a process and I said, well, I've never done that, Jeff, so I'm not sure I know what to do. And so I think this weekend he's going to come over at some point, maybe tomorrow afternoon, and we're going to look at them, and he's going to kind of walk me through pruning my trees so that I better understand. But he told me, he said, you got to prune them because if you don't, they don't create new growth. And he said if you don't prune them, what happens is they end up with these long branches or these straight up shoots, and they won't create new growth. They just keep feeding all their energy into that one place. And I thought, what a great analogy for life. You know, I know friends who, I tell people all the time, some of my best friends are recovering drug addicts. And you know what they've done? One of my best friends is Red Coleman. He's a pastor in Geneva, Alabama. And Red would tell you in his recovery what he did was prune certain things out of his life. And it occurred to me as Jeff was talking yesterday that you know what, everybody I know that struggles, be it with some form of bad decision making, oftentimes it's like, you know, things that seem like they're good things, like people that worship their children. That curled some toes, didn't it? Or grandparents that spoil their grandchildren in contradiction to the parents' teaching. You know, sometimes bad things look like drug addiction. Other times they look like something much less sinister. But what Red would have said was I pruned that out of my life. And what occurred to me was this, is I prosecute a lot of 20, 21, 22-year-old kids who have been spoiled their whole life. And now they're off on their own, and they've never been held accountable before. Their parents never held them to any standard. They always got to do whatever they wanted, and now they just continued to live that way because the branch is still just growing in the same direction it's always grown in. Nobody's ever pruned it. Nobody ever stopped it and said this branch can't grow this way, and therefore forced it to grow a different way. And now they're looking at me like, why are you holding me accountable? Well, because nobody ever pruned the tree. And unfortunately in my job, a lot of times that's what I'm called to do, is prune the tree. And so let me just leave you with this thought. In John chapter 15, Jesus said, I am the true vine, and my Father is the vine dresser. Every branch in me that does not bear fruit, he takes away. And every branch that bears fruit, he prunes, that it may bear more fruit. You are already clean because of the word which I have spoken to you. Abide in me, and I in you. As the branch cannot bear fruit of itself unless it abides in the vine, neither can you unless you abide in me. He goes on to say, I am the vine and you are the branches, and he who abides in me and I in him bears much fruit. For without me you can do nothing. If anyone does not abide in me, he is cast out as a branch is withered, and they gather them and throw them into the fire, and they are burned. Look, it's really simple. Correction, instruction, teaching is just a form of pruning. When your child fails a test, don't go to the teacher and rebuke the teacher because they graded the test wrong, unless you first gone to your child and rebuked them for not studying. When Kate didn't get to play in a basketball game and she'd complain, I'd say to her, you didn't practice. When people don't get advancements in their professions, don't reward their laziness by suggesting to them their boss is just a bad guy. If we're going to speak truth, which goes back to the first video, then we're in the process of pruning, right? And so I have spoke truth to all of my friends through the years about their bad decision making. They've spoken truth to me. My friend Red, my friend Anthony King. I have men in my life who will absolutely speak truth to me at the time when I don't want to hear it. But I always know they're right. And I know that they are being used to prune me. And so, as we talked 2 days ago about speaking truth, today I just want to remind you that there's a purpose in it. The purpose is not to cut people deep. Rod Stewart sang a song, I love it. The first cut is the deepest. That is true, and there's another reference to the people that can cut you the deepest, or the people you love the most. The truth is not meant to cut, except to prune, not to hurt. And so, look at me, 2 minutes and 52 seconds, and I am almost done. I want you to look at the branches of your own life and ask if they need to be pruned. And I want you to look at the branches of the people around you and see if you're willing to speak truth to them about the pruning they might need. Because a fruit tree left unattended to will either not produce fruit at all, or it'll produce fruit that on the ends of branches that get so long it falls to the ground and rots, or it stays so high that only the birds in the air can ever reach it. All right? Y'all have a great day. I love y'all.